Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
The husbando is finally here. As you may have already known, our next event is Arknights Memoir. We should have had this event quite some time ago, but it got replaced with Children of Eurus. Anyhow, here is the new banner, Past Illusion. This banner will be released on the 10th of this month, so get those Orundum ready. This banner has 3 new operators that we will overview, along with Sideroca, our event welfare operator. The operators we're looking at today are Phantom, Shamare, Cutter and Sideroca. Also, I want to mention that Dilopsis will have a 5-star rate up along with Shamare. That alone makes this banner a great one if you still don't have Dilopsis. Let's start with our Cato, Phantom. Phantom is our very first 6-star fast redeploy specialist. Just like many fast redeploy operators, he provides great DPS and utility. But what makes him unique is that he has access to a clone you can deploy that mimics himself, with the same skill buffs. Starting with his talents, they're pretty simple. His first talent allows Phantom to deploy a clone with the same abilities as Phantom, and his second one at E2, reduces his clone redeployment time by 10 seconds, which is pretty solid for his gimmick. On to his skills. His S1 is catered towards a more defensive playstyle. It allows Phantom to gain a shield and physical dodge temporarily. This is great for stall tactics where you need to block enemies, similar to Gravel. It's especially great due to the fact you can deploy 2 operators, to further enhance stalling the enemy. For his S2, it's his primary DPS skill. It allows Phantom to gain multiple attack buff stacks, up to 9 stacks at S7, which of course you get double the DPS when deploying both Phantom and his clone. It's a really great skill when needing to take out the enemy quickly, or even multiple enemies due to him being able to deploy a clone. I will note that each attack will take a stack away until he runs out and has no stacks left. Even then, you are still able to retreat and redeploy him to reset the skill, which makes this skill really consistent. Now moving on to his S3. This skill is pretty similar to how Project Red's S2 works. You pretty much blow up the enemy and apply some long-lasting CC. When Phantom or his clone is deployed, all enemies are pushed and inflicted with a random debuff which consists of slow, bind, or stun. These buffs are all aimed towards stopping the enemy's movement, which is really good for stalling enemies while also dealing great damage in a short burst. It's also decently spammable due to Phantom and his clone's short cooldown. The AoE damage and long CC makes this a really solid skill, for a more fast redeploy and retreat playstyle. Now let's move on to Shamare. Shamare is our new 5-star supporter who specializes in debuffing enemies. She really reminds me of someone from a certain game. But I digress, let's move on. You have probably seen Shamare in some of those fun videos, of operators obliterating strong enemies, since she's able to apply some great debuffs to enemies. So let's go over those, starting with her talent. Shamare's talent inflicts the fragile debuff to enemies below 40% in attack range. This is great for your DPS operators since it increases the damage enemies take. Pair this with her S2, and you will be doing some serious debuffing. Now for her skills. Her S1 is an infinite duration skill, that allows Shamare to gain an attack buff, and increasing the effectiveness of her talent. As usual with any infinite duration skills, it takes a while for it to activate, but once it's going, you will be providing a constant strong debuff for your DPS operators to take advantage of. Moving on to her S2. You obtain a curse stall that you can deploy. Once deployed, all enemies in range of curse stall will be inflicted with huge attack and defense reduction. This debuff is no joke. At M3 the doll can decrease the enemy defense and attack by -50%. That's huge, when you need to deal with enemies with high defense or even hard-hitting enemies. Unfortunately, the doll will peacefully self-destruct after 15 seconds. The only downfall to Shamare is the lack of DPS she provides, and the lower than usual stats. But besides that, her Incurse doll can do some serious denting in the enemy's defense. She's able to provide generic debuffing, which a wide array of operators can take advantage of. Also, I want to mention she has some arts resistance, so Shamare is able to soak up arts damage pretty well. Alright, now on to Cutter. Cutter is pretty much Jason Voorhees in disguise. She is our new 4-star guard, who specializes in DPS and taking out aerial units. Cutter is one of those operators that likes to spam her skills, especially with her low SP costs. This ties into her talent and trait too. Her trait allows Cutter to attack twice, while her talent allows her normal attacks to have a chance to recover 1 SP. This works really well together, since more hits mean more chances of gaining additional SP, which works harmoniously with her skills. Cutter's S1 allows her to throw 4 daggers towards random enemies including aerial, dealing physical damage. The skill range is very similar to a ranged guard, and with the low SP cost, this skill is very spammable. The only downfall is it being attack SP charge. Her S2 is where things get pretty awesome. Cutter deals huge physical damage, up to 6 nearby enemies. Not only that, the attack deals twice the attack scaling against flying enemies. This is a pretty strong skill due to the fact that her SP cost is so low, only being 1 SP higher than her S1. This skill is also great on challenge quests, for example, CC, where there are attacks that ban ranged operators. The big downside to Cutter is the skill's SP charge is on attack hit, so she needs to be on the front line or attacking to activate skills. This can prove to be tricky especially when you want her to focus on aerial units, and with her low defense and no defensive skills, this can be quite risky if not placed strategically. But if you can take advantage of the map and keep her alive, she will put in a lot of work. And lastly, the welfare operator, Sideroca. Sideroca is our new 5-star survivalist guard. As you may tell from the skills, her gimmick is to stay alive, deal damage and heal herself, pretty much. Her trait allows her attacks to deal arts damage, which is very nice for taking out high defense enemies. Sideroca's talent gives her bonus attack speed, after killing a certain amount of enemies. It's a really nice buff once you get the amount of kills specified. Not only that, she also gains the status resistance buff, which reduces duration of stun, cold, and freeze by 50%. On to her skills. Her S1 is pretty basic, it's pretty much just a single time HP recover. It's got quite a big SP cost for what it is. But her S2 skill is the one you want to be using. For the duration the skill is active, Sideroca gains a huge attack buff, and she's able to recover a lot of HP every second. At S7 she's able to recover a whole 7% HP every second, which is massive. The only downside is that it reduces her attack range to a single square, which makes absolutely no difference being a 2-square melee operator. The main thing I'm really disappointed in is that she's a block 1 operator. This means we can't use her to hold many enemies. It's a big shame in my opinion, since her S2 gives such big healing. Besides that, she's actually very good at dealing with enemies with big defense, like heavy defenders, lodgers, or even crushers. This is due to her arts damage and status resistance from her talent, and of course, survivability. Now then, should you roll? Yes, Phantom is a really strong fast redeploy operator who has a lot of utility and DPS. There are a lot of scenarios where you can use Phantom, due to his versatile skill set. From tanking and stalling enemy, dealing big DPS, and applying CC to the enemy. A reason you might want to skip trying to pull him is that you already invested a lot into Gravel or Project Red. Even then, Phantom is a great addition to your squad. Also, Shamare and Cutter are pretty great operators too, if you know how to utilize them. Also with Telopsis rate up, it makes this banner even better if you still need her. So overall, a really solid banner to roll on. Ahem, unless you're saving for a certain someone. Alright, that covers it. Thanks for watching and good luck.